Boom. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Technical Friday live stream here at the Wized channel. I am excited to continue building in this fourth part of the building a community forum using Wized, Webflow, and Supabase. So this is the fourth installment, the fourth part where we are just building everything from scratch so you can see how we go from a blank project, nothing at all, to having a production ready web application. In this case, it's going to be a community forum so you can see, a bunch of functionalities that are cool. So, I'm excited to do this. Welcome everyone who's joining. If you want to drop a hello in the channel, in the chat, sorry, go ahead. I really want to jump straight into it today because we've got a lot of things to do. But before doing that, let's do a quick recap of what we've built in the past 3 live streams, right? We've been doing this for 3 Fridays already. Hey, Shane, thank you for coming. Nice to having you. Love it. Nice. All right. So let's share the screen for a second while people here in the chat, if you want to drop some lovely messages, I always appreciate them. Um, let's do a quick recap. We're doing this community forum where we've got some basic forum functionalities. Obviously, we've got things like authentication, profiles, categories, posts, comments, voting, etc. And then we're going to be sprinkling more functionalities on top of that. So far, we've done on the first live stream, we've done the sign in and sign up. We also started working on the profile, which we finalized in the second live stream. We've got things like displaying my profile settings, changing my picture, my user picture, profile picture, my username, and some other information I think that we had as well. Then on the third live stream, we started building the homepage where we display all the posts. And this is the main thing that people will see when they log in, when they come to the forum. So we're going to have some categories navigation here on the left side. And as you can see, we are already loading some posts like that. Obviously, we need to improve this a little bit. We're going to be adding some loading spinners. We also have to do things like adding the profile picture of who made this posting here. And then also we need to be able to open this post as well, right? But the idea today is that we're going to finalize these categories navigation here on the side. We're going to finalize adding a bit more information on the post items. And then we are going to focus on the creating a post page. So users can create a new post. It's not going to be just a simple form. We're going to use a rich text editor so people have full editing capabilities. We're going to use some npm package for that. Probably is going to be some like Quill.js. Probably maybe we can play around with another rich text editor. We can really use any of those. I think that Quill is cool like that. Look at this. It's a very cool editor. So we can check how to implement this. But we're going to see, right? So before doing this, obviously, we need to finalize these sections here. And by the way, if you've got any questions, drop them here in the chat. I will be happy to help you just answer it. If you're watching this after the live stream has concluded, if you're from the future, hi, hopefully everything is going well. We are going to be leaving timestamps in the video so you can skip any part that you are not really interested. Maybe I'm building something in Webflow and you just want to skip that. Maybe I'm doing something in Supabase and you want to skip that. Or you just want to, see exactly everything that we do on this specific live stream, right? So let's not waste any more time. Let's go for it. You guys ready? Hopefully you are. So let's do this. Nice. Let's recap here. We've got the post items that, as you can see, every time that we refresh the page, there's only one post that we have in the database and it's being fetched and it's being displayed. That post, we are storing it in, I always forget the navigation in Supabase. Here, we have a table called posts that contain all the posts, which right now it's only one. So we've got an ID, we've got created at timestamp, we've got a title, we've got a body, and then we've got the user who created the post, and also we've got a category. Each post has a category. So we also created a table for categories, and each category has very basic things: an ID, timestamp, a slug. We're going to be using this later, and a name to display like that. So that name is being already displayed in here. So for example, this post, it's announcements. So this text is coming from the database from here, right? Let me move this here. So there's one little thing that I want to do, and it's I want to implement a loading spinner. So while we are loading the page, I want to display this spinner. So let's do this. Let's come here, and in the main content, not only I'm going to have the post item, let's do a loading spinner. And in this case, let's do just an embed, because I'm going to add a CSS loading spinner. Let's see. Give me some cool spinner. Which one should we use? Let's see. Let's see. Do you guys want any of these? Maybe we can do this one's cool. Why not? I like it. Let's do this one. Nice. So this is going to be a span with a class loader, and also we'll have some CSS. So then no need for the convert embed being here, because we can have just the global styles. Spinning football from the 90s. Hold on. What is that? Spinning football from the 90s. This one? If you go in the website, Fred, and you let me know which one do you like it more, I can copy it. Hi, Fred, by the way. So let's copy this custom CSS. Let's put it here in the global styles, just for our organization's purposes. So there's going to be some loader like that. We will probably want to change some colors in here, right? We've got some background in here, but I've got some white as well, and that's not going to be playing well with our white background. Old school loading spinner. Kidding. Well, in the 90s, you probably mean a very old GIF. I don't know how to pronounce it with with a cool football. I miss the old websites. I do. All right. Well, let's do this for a second. Let's try it out, and then let's go here and let's do a div with a class of loader. Look at that. Nice. Although the white ball is not being displayed. It's not being displayed because our background is white. So let's change that. What colors do we have? Let me see. What colors do we have? We've got some blue and pink and black. How about we use blue and black? Let's use blue and black. So if we go to the variables, let's copy the CSS variable. Let's copy the blue CSS variable. I think that I can do that from here. Copy CSS. Yes. Nice. Come here. Probably it's going to be this one. Probably. I'm going to assume. So let's replace it for a variable. Let's see. Yay. Nice. So then the white one, it's going to be probably the white ball. So let's grab, and instead of being white, let's make it black, for example, like that. So copy CSS. Let's go back to our loader and let's do white. Nice. All right. Look at this. We've got a loading spinner. Yay. Nice. But I want to, and hold on, maybe I can also do, let's do a wrapper just in case. Loader wrapper. And in that case, we can just make sure that this is something like that. So we can put it anywhere and we have a bit more flexibility. All right, we can even turn this into a component. Hmm, we'll see. Let's use it like this for now. We only want to display this loader when we are fetching the posts, right? So anytime that the post request is happening, so if you check the post request when we load the page, it's going to be requesting. It's pretty fast, but it is happening. So the way that we can do that in Wized is by using an attribute called Wized loader. Whoops, Wized loader. And the Wized loader attribute is an attribute that will be present on the element um, until a specific request finishes. So in this case, the request is called get posts, I think. Get all posts. Get all posts. Meaning that this specific element will, the loader wrapper will have this attribute until the get all post request finishes. So if we go in here, I think that we already did this for the get user. We can also do the same thing for the get all posts. I could technically just target the attribute, the entire attribute like this, but I want to have full flexibility. That's why I'm breaking it down by specific requests. So now, hold on. No. That's going to be the other way around. Trust me for a second. I want to have this set to display none. And in here, let me duplicate it for a second. This will make sense, I promise. This will make sense. It's setting it to display flex. Why am I doing this? Because by default, the loader should be hidden, right? But the attribute of Wized loader, this attribute will be setting the element to be display flex until the request finishes. At that point, the attribute will be removed, and by default, the element is set to display none. You will see. This will make sense. Let's try it out. Yeah, look at this. Right? So by default, it is being displayed flex because we've got the attribute set to it, but when the request finishes, the attribute is removed, and then the element goes display none, which is its default state, its main state in here. Now I'm wondering if we turn this into a component. One second, loader. If we do this, can we make this? Oh yeah, we can actually create and connect a new property. Yeah, like it. Love it. So let's do with loader. The property settings will be request name. And there's not going to be a default text. Request name. No default text like that. Create. Nice. Because then here, now we can reuse this loader like that. Why not set an active combo class? Set active while requesting. Yes, that's also possible. The only downside of that is that you have to also then manage the loader as an element here, and you have to add some extra logic in Wized, which is absolutely fine. We could also do that as well. I just wanted to display how we can use the built-in Wized loader to achieve the same result. So there's no right or wrong answer. It's just a matter of preference for people. So at some point, for example, as Sukumar is saying, we could also just simply target the loader with a Wized attribute and then select the loader here from the elements panel and set some display visibility like, all right, I want you to render only if the request is happening. That's also possible. Absolutely possible. In this case, I just wanted to display this functionality. I think I can zoom it a bit more like that. So actually, we can rename this to be not loader, but request loader, like that. Because then this loader can now be reused anytime that we're implementing something that needs to wait for a request, and it's going to be displaying a loader. So in this case, this specific loader is for the get all posts. When the get all post request finishes, the loader disappears, like that. All right, nice. So let's do fine like that. There's one thing that I want to change just for a second. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and it's that I don't want to have this net fixed. I want to have it just like that. Yeah, much better. Now there's a bit more breathing in here. Oh, nice. Better. All right. So now the next thing that I want to do is here in the posts that we are listing, I want to also display the profile picture of the user who made the post, right? Um, if we check it, for example, using the FinSuite forum as the reference, we've got a title, we've got the category as well, and also we've got the person who made the post, and also whoever interacted with the post. That's interesting. But we can start by just adding the person who did it. So in this case, we could do, for example, let's come here. Yeah, I like it. Let's come here. Let's wrap this with the div, and let's do post item info, for example. Let's make this flex. Let's add some gap. Let's do like 2 rem maybe. And in here, let's do another post item author, which is also going to be flex. Let's do some mini gap, maybe 50 rem. And let's add an image. Let's do post item author image, for example. And that can be, how about 2 rem by 2 rem? Is that going to be fine? Yeah, I like it. I'm just making this up. Remember, I'm not a designer. You can always suggest me to do things because I'm really not very good at designing. So, and I want to have that, and I want to also display the name of the author. So let's do a text, and that's going to be John Doe, for example. John Doe. Yay. What do you think? This is looking fine. Top, middle. Let's do by John Doe, like this. We can maybe even make this a bit smaller, making this 75, like that. Maybe exactly like category, which is 75. Yeah, let's do 75. So 0.75 rem. Like that. Why not? Yeah, I'm just getting picky now. I'm getting design niche. But let's make this actually spread 100%. Yeah, let's spread it like this. So space between, space around, space between. Lovely. Nice. I like it. That's it. All right. So what we want to do now is when we load the posts, right now we are only getting some info from the post, but we're not getting the info from the author. So if we go and open the data that we get here, the data comes with the ID, with the title, and with the category. But we also want to have the author. We want to know who who created it. So we want to get the name of the person, and we also want to get the profile picture of that person. Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. So in here, let's identify this. This could be, how's this? Post item title, post item category. So let's do post item, Wized post item author picture. Yeah. Let me change this to also picture so we are consistent. Nice. And then also here, I don't want to do this by, so I'm not going to select the entire element. I only want to change this here. So I'm going to wrap this using a span. And this span is the one that will have the Wized attribute. So this will be Wized post item author, like that. Nice. Let's see if this was done right for a second. Let's refresh. X-ray. Look at that. Nice. Yeah. Let me do also as well the same thing that we did here, which is adding a default background using a placeholder in case that there is no image. So I'm gonna add a background with a placeholder that we have in here, and let's do cover center like this. Let's publish it, and now I think that there should be, yeah, some background here until we get the right image. That's fine. All right, nice. X-ray, we've got post item author picture. So if we go back to the request where we're getting all the posts, I want to include the ID, the title, the category data, and also the user. Now, the problem will be that probably we will run into row level security policies when we try to get the info of the user. And so, yeah, let's run into the problem and let's try to find out the solution together. So this is going to be user, and this will come from let's see. This is coming from a different schema because that's from the auth schema, right? That's coming from the auth schema users. So probably if I do user users, this is not gonna work. I'm pretty sure this is not gonna work. Let's make a quick test. If I do this and I run this, yeah, search for a foreign key relationship between posts and users in the schema public, but no matches were found because that's a different schema. All right, so we've got a different schema. How do we query from different schemas? I'll try to remember this. Supabase. One second. Let's go to the Supabase documentation. And when we are fetching data, there's a way to query foreign tables. So we need to use a bang like that. No, from different schemas. Team's name. Switching schemas per query. We will have to get it from a different schema. All right. We will have to get it from a different schema. And I think that will be more complicated. I think that there should be a better way to do this. How about we do Postgres Postgres computed columns, generated columns. A generated column is a special type of column whose values are automatically calculated based on expressions or values from other columns. Yeah, because instead of having to go and switch schemas and make a different request, maybe what we can do is in the posts table, let's go back to public. In the posts table, maybe we could have a generated column here, which I think that we can do it in Supabase. We're going to see. And that generated column, essentially what it does is automatically, anytime that something changes that depends on that column, that the column depends on what changed, the column is recalculated. So for example, if the user changes the name, we can also store that again in here, etc. Now, let me see if we can do this in Supabase. If I don't find a quick solution now, what I'm going to do is just skip this today and do proper due diligence and research during the week. And the next Friday, we're going to tackle these because I don't want to spend a lot of time doing research here. Generated columns in Supabase. Generate column values in Postgres with functions, triggers. Use generate columns to perform queries with formulas. Computer fields, tables, and data. All right. Yeah. So I'm gonna do this, all right? Because I think that if I start going down this rabbit hole right now, maybe we take quite a lot of time, and I don't want to do this right now. I prefer to do some research outside of the live streams, so I don't waste your time. And then on the next live stream, we can tackle that. So for now, this is just gonna stay as is. We already have the UI, nice. So what I'm going to do is jump into the categories navigation because we can tackle this today with no problem, and then jump into the post creation. And after that, on the next live stream, we're going to tackle displaying the user data in here, right? Okay, so categories. I've had an idea. I want to mix both using Supabase and using Webflow CMS to create the categories navigation. And I know that this might sound weird, I know, but I think that it will make sense. So instead of loading the categories from Wized and essentially having one single category page, so let's imagine that this category page was something like / category, not post category, like this. And then we used some kind of ID, like ID 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, right? What we could do is, for example, have the categories defined as a CMS collection in Webflow, display these from the CMS, and then in the CMS, we simply store the ID of the category so we can pull that data, or just this log actually, because in the categories, we've got these logs here, right? And then using this log, we could potentially just find the category info and then find the post from that category. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's try it out because I think that that's a nice way of just trying to be as Webflow possible, and then what cannot be done with Webflow, then we go and use Wist and Supabase for it. So let's do a quick test. Maybe I regret this, but maybe I will love it. So let's create a collection here that's going to be categories. The only downside of this is that there's going to be some minimal duplication between Webflow and Supabase. It's going to be minimal, so it's not going to be a problem of maintaining it. And in here, all I want to do is do the same thing. So I want to store the name of the category, and that's basically it. And also I want to make sure that this log in here, so the collection URL, this log of each one matches this log in Supabase. So this is going to be his name and his log, and that's it, I think. Oh, Shane, that's a valid suggestion. Yeah, one downside is requiring a Webflow CMS plan. I didn't think of that. Yeah, because I'm testing and I can do this. Let's try it out. If we regret it, we can always switch to Supabase. And also, if you guys want to build something like this, you don't need to deal with CMS. You can always just load the data from Supabase. Absolutely. All right. All right. So let's do this category here. Yes, it changes. And let's create the items. So we've got products. I'll just copy and paste. Let's go side by side. And here. Oh, too small. Bit more, bit more. Like that. Nice. Smaller. Yeah. I'll zoom out a bit just for now so we can see both things. like that. Nice. All right. So products, this is going to be products, slug products, good, key to publish. Another one, I really don't dig the editor from Webflow here. It's a bit cumbersome, right? Videos, let's go quick. Videos, yes, nice. Another one, let's do music, slug music, good, key to publish, yeah. Another one, this is going to be announcements, nice. Announcements, perfect. Key to publish. And last one, news. Whoops. No, here. News. News. Nice. Key to publish. Okay, great. Save changes. So now let's just put these together again. Nice. So now this means that we've got all these categories. So yeah, save changes. So we can display them in here. And let's do that. Let's do a collection list. And this collection list will be connected to the categories. So inside of each category, we can do a text link for now. Yeah, let's do a text link. And these will point to the current category page. And in here, yeah, no need for this, the text is going to come from the name. Yay, look at that. So we've got the categories already rendered in here. Now, the thing is that each of these will be sending the user to the dedicated collection template page of that category page. And from there, in that template page of the category, we can list the posts that only match the specific post from that category. That's the idea. So let's stall this a little bit just to make it better. So let's do sidebar or categories nav, maybe categories nav like this. And let's do some list with a bit of back gap here. Nice. And let's do also a category link, maybe like that. But no need for this. The category link, all I want to do is just remove some things like that. The color can be a link, actually. Do we want a link? Link color, link primary, secondary. Let's just leave it as is. That's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine. Nice. Do we need that much margin? I don't think so. Yeah, nice. Great. So the good thing is that now, as I mentioned, we can navigate to each category page like this. So if I click on this, we're going to /news, which doesn't exist now because there's no content. But at least we've got this. So now let's just copy all of this. Yeah, let's copy everything and let's go to the template page of the categories. Let's paste this. Nice. And now I'm realizing that this probably should be a component, because if we change it somewhere, it should be changed everywhere. So let's create this component. Let's call these categories nav, like that. So these categories nav should be both in here and in the home, like that. Better. Love it. All right. And in here, this post item, let's remember that this has some things like the post item here, and also it has the category title, blah, blah, blah. So what we want to do is adapt this. So in each of the categories pages, we don't load all the posts, but instead we only load the posts from the specific category, right? Now I'm realizing that maybe we should also do some heading. Let's add a heading here. This can be welcome. I don't know. Let's add some margin at the bottom. Maybe medium. Yeah, why not? Maybe this can also be padding section a bit medium like that. Better. All right, better. And let's do the same thing, but instead of being here, welcome, here actually let's do all posts here, right? Because in here, we don't want to display all posts. We want to just tell the user, hey, this is displaying the current category, which is the category name. Look at that. Yeah, nice. Let's also change the padding like this. Nice. So this means that now we can navigate through categories and we're going to see the title properly. And that's coming from Webflow. We don't need to do anything in Wized. So nice. So I can go to news, I can go to announcements, music, videos, products. Can I go to products? Products. Nice. So in each one of these, we want to load the posts only from that specific category. I'm really starting to hate these logo that we did. We have to change that at some point. Okay, cool. So what we want to do is not get all the posts, but instead we want to create a, hold on, why is not loading the post now? What's happening here? Why is it not loading all the posts in the homepage? Did we miss anything? Oh, yeah, because I need to remove this because this is invalid. Yeah, all right. So let's go to news, for example. Now in here, we want to implement a dedicated request that's going to be create get category posts like this. And in get category posts, let's put this in under posts. This is going to be Supabase. This is going to be get list as well. We basically want to duplicate this. So let me copy it from from this one. And I want to get the ID, the title, and categories. So let's do this. ID, the title, and also the category information, like that. But not only that, we want to filter the posts. So the idea is that here we want to filter the posts by category. In posts, we've got a category ID. Here, we have a category ID. So what we want to do is first, we want to get the category info, right? Which means that before finalizing this, we want to make another request that's going to be get category. And this can be imposed as well, I think. I think it's fine. Supabase. Let's get an item. But the item goes by record ID, and we don't have the record ID. We have the slug. We have the slug, so we want to get it by slug. So let's do get list, and the table will be categories. And we want to filter by slug, like this, right? So we want to get all the categories that match the specific slug from Webflow. And the slug, it is in the href. So if we inspect this for a second, n.path, let's inspect this. The path includes this, right? So each URL of the CMS is this. Actually, let's visit the live site. Right. So right now, if I go to the homepage, obviously, I know that it's a bit small, but the homepage is just /. There's nothing. If we go to news, the route is /category /news. So the last / this is the slug of the category, right? This last bit here is the slug. So what we can do is say, all right, if we do we grab the path, we split the path by this, by a forward slash, what we get is an array, right? And this array contains every different section of the slug. Being the last one, the category slug, like this. So if we then do a pop, which is a JavaScript method to remove the last item of an array, now you're going to see that the last item, it's the one that we are using, and it's the category slug, like that. So if we did it right, and if we run this, we should get, yay, the info from the category, which in this case, it includes the ID, created at, slug, and name. We only need the ID, really. So I only want to get the ID. Select the columns, get the ID, play. And now this is saying that the news, it's ID 5. If we go to announcements, it is ID 4. If we go to music, it is ID 3, like that, right? That is one approach. One approach. Another approach as well, if we want to avoid making a request as well to get the category ID, what we could do is in the CMS as well, we could add an additional field that it's called something like Supabase ID. And in that case, we could have the ID in there and just put the ID on the window. For example, let's try that out because I want to show you like different approaches. So let's come here, let's do this, and let's do a plain text. No, I think that it should be a number because IDs are numbers. So let's do a number, and this is going to be Supabase ID, like that. Integer, yes, no negative numbers. This field is required, like that. Save the collection. And now we have here, so we can go and just update this. So products is going to be 1, videos 2, music 3, announcements 4, news 5. So products will be 1, queue to publish. Videos will be 2, queue to publish. Music will be 3, queue to publish. Announcements will be 4, queue to publish. News will be 5, queue to publish. I think that I did it right. Yes, like that. So now we've got the ID as well in Webflow, meaning that we could simply just put that somewhere in here. So what if, for example, we go to the category page and in the head tag, somewhere in here, we do, or it could even be in the body, but I think it's better to do it in the head. Yeah, we do it here in the head. We can open a script tag like that, script. And this could, for example, we could simply do window dot category ID. And this could be the Supabase ID, like that, semicolon. Because if we do this, then if we do this, now in here, when we are getting the category post, we could simply say, hey, filter by category ID and use the window.category ID property that we just set here, right? Because we set it, we set it in a script tag in here, like that. So this means that we wouldn't need to actually get the category first. We could simply just move along and get the post without doing this. Now, at this point, we are mixing a lot of logic between Webflow and Wized, and at some points, this can become a bit cumbersome to maintain in the future, right? Because now we've got some logic about storing the category ID in Webflow. We are injecting that in Webflow. Then we're going to Wized and we're getting the category ID from that we just injected on the window, and then we're making the request. Like, we are starting to mix a lot of logic, and that can be hard to understand. So it is more efficient, but also it's less maintainable. Hopefully you're understanding where I'm going. Sukumar is also saying another way if could be using variable that stores news and changes on click will work even if we're not using CMS. Um, so you're saying that we create a variable, we put this log in there, and then anytime that the variable changes, we refetch the category. Is that what you mean, Sukumar? That's all. That's also an option. Yeah. So for now, I'm going to not do this. All right. I know that I just showed you, but I would rather keep things a bit simpler. We can leave this as is. It's fine, like that. So what I'm going to do is do what we just did, which is first of all, we get the category by slug, like that. And then after getting the category, we get the category posts, meaning that let's play this. Let's get the category. Nice, we've got this. And then in the category posts, we want to filter by category ID that equals to, let's open the data store, request, let's close this, get category ID, like that, right? We want to do this, like that. So hopefully this would allow me to try to get posts, which in this case, we don't have anything from music, but if we go to announcements, we should see how, let's get the category from announcements. Yes, nice. And now let's try to get the category posts from announcements. And this is returning the announcements because we are filtering by announcements. Nice. But now the last missing key here is displaying this, right? So first of all, when the page loads, we want to get the category post, right? So let's do get category. Let's do get category data because we're getting both the category and the posts. The trigger will be the page starts loading. And then first of all, we want to perform a request, and the request will be get the category. After getting the category, we want to perform another request that's going to be get the category posts. We only want to do that if the request to get in the category was successful, because if it fails, we don't have the category, so we cannot get the post from the category. So let's make it conditional to ensure that get the category was okay, like that. Nice. But now you're probably seeing a problem now, and it's that, all right, but this means that, yeah, we are getting all the posts, we're also getting the categories, but we only want to get all the posts in the homepage, and we only want to get the categories in the category pages. The get all posts, I think that it already has a conditional. Yeah, it already has a conditional, and it's that only if we are in the homepage, we are fetching it. Come on, navigate. Nice. Because if the slug is true in here, we are fetching all the posts. So we want to do the same thing and say, all right, get the category data only if the path starts with, so do start with / categories, right? Is it categories, the slug? No, category. All right, so it's going to be category, like that. So only if we go to the news, for example, now we should see how this runs. Let's try it. Announcements. Yeah, as you can see, it gets the category. Look at that. And then it gets the category posts. Nice. We get the product and then this. the product. Sorry, we get the category and then we get the category posts. Nice. Okay, we've got the data. Now we need to display the data. And if we go to the elements, remember that we already have a post item thingy here. This post item, this post item, yeah, isn't it in here, the post item? I think that it is. Hold on, let me double check. Post item. Yes, it is. Post item with cloud hide. Post item, post item. It isn't here. Yeah, right. But as you can see, it's rendering from the get out posts data, right? So what we can do is say, all right, render it from the get out posts data, or render it from another request, because at some point maybe we will have request from getting all the posts. Maybe some point we'll want to display from getting the users posts. Maybe we want to display some related posts. There's going to be multiple places where we want to render posts with using the same item, right? Actually, let's turn this into a component. Let's do post item, just post item like this. And let's do the same thing in the home. So we are doing this like that. All right, nice. So for now, just to make it faster, we can see ways to optimize this. One ultimate way to optimize this is obviously using Wized components, which is a concept that we are currently exploring to be able to reuse the logic better when we are doing things like specifically this. But we still don't have Wized components, so we want to play around with reusing the logic of the post item element. So in here, what I'm going to do is one sneaky thing that maybe you guys don't know. And it's that, let's see, the list value will be this one. So we can get each item's data. Trying to think for a second, what's the most optimal way to do this? Get all post data, and in here also, this is probably going to be get all post data, right? Yes. And the data's here. The data's here. The data's here. So if we could, for example, hmm. For now, to simplify things, I think that we can refactor this later. But for now, what I'm going to do is the following. I'm going to create a variable that it's called post data. All right. And this post data, I want it to be computed. And this will include either getting all the post data, so get all posts data, or r dot get all get category posts data, like that. All right. So what I'm doing here is saying, all right, so if we got all the posts, that's fine. If we get specific category posts, that's also fine. We use one of either, because we either are fetching all the posts or we are getting the category posts, right? So now, if we inspect the data store, you're going to see how, look at this, we've got this in here. If we go to the home page, we're going to see that we also have this. So this one is coming from the categories request. This one is coming from the all post request, which is also fine. So if I go now to the element, and I replace this, instead of being r.getAllPostData, I do v.postData, like that, right? This now is going to be displaying from the post data. So I'm going to do this also as well for the children. So post data like this, and this will be v post data as well, and this will be again. No, we don't have author picture and we don't have author. So let's try this out. Let's see. All right, hold on. Something is missing. What it's missing? Yeah, the title should also be this. And this should be this as well. Okay. Okay. Did I do it right? Yay. Nice. Nice. Okay. Good. Look at this. So we can now see, hopefully, in the homepage, nice, and in here. Look at that. Yay. Nice. There's another thing, and it's that in here, when we go to the category template, this one, the loader, it's not for get all post, it's for get category posts. Get category posts. So if we check the global styles, let's go here, global styles. I want to do the same thing. So for getting all the posts and for doing get the category posts, I want to display flex like that. Let's see. Now we're talking. Look at this. So let's do a quick test. Let's create another post that's going to be in some news. So let's do title attributes v2 is launching. Did you know this? On May 8th, 2025, we are launching attributes version 2, which will be fully compatible with Wized. Yay. Did you know this? Haha. Nice. Oh, hold on. No, I need to assign this to a user. So let's assign this to me because we only have one user. The category will be news, like that. Can we save this? Yeah, nice. So if we go now to the homepage, we should see two posts. Yes. And if we go to news, we should see only this one. And if we go to announcements, we should see this one. Yay. Nice. Also, I want to do one last thing, and it's I want to have an empty state, right? Because if there are no posts, we want to display something. So let's go super quick to do this, and then I'll let you go now, guys, because it's already time. So here, let's do a empty. Let's do empty categories, maybe. I don't know. Why not? Yeah. So let's do maybe to RAM like this. Yeah, let's do this. And in here, let's see. Oops, no categories found. Like that. And this can be in the center. Nice. So we want to display this if the request has finished and there are no categories. So let's do Wist. Actually, no, not no categories found. No, that should be no posts found, right? And this we can reuse this both for all the posts if for some reason the request fails, and the categories. So let's call this, instead of empty categories, let's do, how do we call this? Post item categories. empty, posts empty, for example. So let's do Wized equals to posts empty. And also let's add Wized cloak like this. Because we don't want to display this until Wized cloak height, sorry. Wized cloak height. We don't want to display this element until we decide that it should be displayed. Let's do this for a second. Let's refresh. And now we should see how there is new this posts empty, which, whoops, posts empty. Which is weirdly being removed somehow. Why is this happening? It is being removed and I don't know why. Why? All right, time to fix this off stream and we'll let you guys know because somehow I just found some weird thing in West. Gotta love when I found bugs in the product that I develop. Okay, nice. So I think that this is the end of this live stream. Next live stream, there's two things that are pending, which is um, properly displaying this empty state. Somehow there's something that it's not working fine now. And also properly displaying the user info of each post. All right. And after that, we are going to do what was technically planned for today, but we didn't have time to, which is the create a post page. That's happening for the next live stream. So everyone who's watching right now, really appreciate it. Thank you. And I really wish that you have a nice weekend. See you next Friday for this next video. Thank you all. Goodbye.